Okay, so what you're looking at over here is basically a mixture of all of these. So what you have over here is split peas, right? So you call it grams, so you split peas. You have some masoor dal, right? And then you have some wheat that has been ground. You have some normal long grain rice. It could be Thai, jasmine, homali, or anything like that. It doesn't matter. You just want the stickiness from it, the starch from it. And then what you have is moong dal over here. So moong dal basically will add the meaty part to it. And last but not least, if you take a look at this is basically Chinigura rice, right? So it's a desi rice, and it's very fragrant, and this will add the fragrance to the Haleem, right? So one last look, right? There you go. And all of these has been added in with 1 cup of these, 1 cup of these, 1 cup worth of these, and then half a cup worth of these, because this will get very thick. Half a cup, combining it together with 1 cup of these. And all of these have been put in the blender, have been ground, and as you can see, the consistency is quite coarse, but then it's also quite fine. So what I'm going to do next is that we're going to put this through the blender, or if you are cooking the meat for a very long time, you know, you're cooking the Pakistani style, the Afghani style, then it would be unnecessary to put them through the blender. You can just chuck the whole spices in the pot, and once the meat is already melted inside, right? So this will also be melted and mixed with the whole Haleem. You will not find any of the spices, right? Because it's a very long process, and there will be very much of hammering until the meat becomes like how do I say it, like a paste, yeah? So because we're doing a fusion, so I'm just gonna blend a bit, and then the rest of it will go in as whole. So it releases its flavor, essential oils and everything over time. Okay, so after blending it, I have soaked them in hot water, right? So to just let them become big, yep, to soak in all the waters, become nice and soft. So to use hot water is just so that it's faster, right? Instead of 3 hours, it will just take you 30 minutes of soaking before all of them get soft. And as you can see, I've used almost 2/3 of the jar. Okay, now so I'm just gonna add in some oil inside. It's just simple vegetable oil, and do add quite a bit, right? So almost about 1 centimeter in length, or after measuring it, about 200 milliliters from here. All right, so once you have the oil inside, you just let it heat up a little, right? So, and once it's heating up, as you can see, we have some beautiful onions. You just chuck them inside, all right? Ah, that sound always makes me so happy. Yep. So you just have the onions inside, and this is a very beautiful clay pot, and Haleem in a clay pot is always amazing. So just going to give it a nice mix here, and we're just going to fry up the onions till they are nice and brown. Yep. And we don't need to add any salt or any spices just yet, because we want the onions to be nice and brown first. Okay, now so as you can see that the onions are turning beautifully brown, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add a heaping spoon of ginger there, right? And the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to add another heaping spoon of garlic in there, right? And I'm going to just give them a mix. And oh, if you cook, you will know that this smells amazing. Okay, now so it's been about 2 to 3 minutes, and what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to just add all the spices in as promised, right? So I hope you have your spices ready, because I'm just going to add them in just like that. And once I add the meat, then I will add a bit of the powder spice, right? So I already have coriander powder made into powder, right? Coriander seeds made into powder. So I do not need to ground them up separately. So I have just added them into the ground of all of these spices inside. Dear ladies and gentlemen, now what you're going to see is very dangerous, because I'm going to add in a very big spoon of ghee in there. And this thing is going to turn this whole dish into something of royalty. Yeah? So just for good luck, another spoon. There you go. With these incredible aromatics going on with the ghee and everything, so we're just going to finally add the beef inside. So here we have about 2 kgs of beef that we're going to just melt in there. And then some of the bigger chunks, as you can see, these are quite small, yeah? And then we have some of the bigger chunks like that. It's quite big, right? So what's going to happen is that the smaller ones are just going to melt inside, while the bigger ones are going to stay so that you get a chunky bite, you know, every once in a while. So we got our meat in there. And next we're going to do is we're going to add the whole spices that we have blended up, right? So just with the coriander and everything, so just 1 tablespoon of the whole spices, or we call it the Haleem mix, and 1 tablespoon of red paprika powder, and then 1 tablespoon, or you can go up to 1.5 tablespoon of turmeric powder, right? So once you have added all of those in, you just give it a nice mix. So it has been going on for about 2 minutes or so, and I think it's finally high time to add some salt to it. So just about 1 big tablespoon of salt, or 1.5, right? Just for good luck, let's add in a bit more. There you go. So once we have added it, let's give it a mix. Oh, just look at the color. Look at the color, look at the color. You know, cooking in a clay pot is always nice, right? But then when the food is a stew, or let's say a porridge, soup, you know, clay pots are really, really helpful. So as you can see that the meat is reducing a bit, it's releasing water. So we will increase the heat, right? So that we can evaporate all the waters out of here. And the next thing we're going to do is add a bit of water to just cover up to the meat, and then after that we'll let it boil and boil until it becomes soft. And last but not least, we will be adding the grains inside. You know it's good when it's boiling and it's fogging up the camera, right? So what we're going to do is that we're just going to add water to it, yeah, and so the next thing is that to let it boil till it gets tender, almost falling apart. You see the steam? Yep, steaming the camera again. So, okay, let's put the steam away and let's look through the steam. And I'm pretty sure you can see that the meat is almost melting in there, right? So now is the right time to add in the grains. Here I have all of the grains. I'm just going to add the water in first, and then you see the lentils and all the grains, just slide them in carefully so that they don't spill on your hand. Alright, there you go. Just put everything inside. I can't tell you how excited I am that the result of this is going to be after the process is done. So the meat almost took around 3 hours to become melting soft, right? So the rice and everything, all the grains and lentils and all that should take another 1.5 hours or maybe 2 hours to cook on medium heat. So as you can see, it has been cooking for 1.5 hours now, and it has thickened a lot. Yep. So you can see it has thickened a lot, and it will still keep cooking until it becomes one mix. And you know, the only thing you have to be very careful of is that when rice gets mushy, right, it starts to settle on the bottom. So you have to scrape the bottom so that it doesn't stick to it. Once it burns, the whole taste is ruined. So you have to be very careful, then keep on turning and turning and turning. You can add ghee to it if you want, right? So ghee will add a bit of volume, and then it will emulsify with the water and all the rice, and then it will also give a nice fragrance. So now that we are coming to the end of it, we will add a bit of cucumber, right? We'll add the cucumbers, and we'll add a lot of fried onions. So we have caramelized fried onions over here. We'll just add them in there, right? And then we'll bring them in, and then we'll keep stirring them quickly. So what we want is that for them to quite mix and disintegrate inside. Yeah? So just mix it quite quickly, and you can see, oh, my hand's hurting. Yeah. It's quite a workout, yeah? And it's a full energy-packed meal. So in the morning you can have it for suhoor or saheri, yeah? And then after that, you don't really feel hungry the whole day. Yep. So pretty much that's that. And I'm gonna cover it back again and let it go for maybe another hour. Probably add a bit of water to it so that it lightens up. It's very thick right now, so it lightens up a bit. And then also add more ghee. So it's all about ghee, right? Ghee without life is meaningless. The Haleem is finally done, and as you can see that, you know, there are the meat has melted, and yet there are some big pieces, chunks still left. And this is where the fusion happens for the Iranian, Afghani, Pakistani Haleem, where it's totally a mash. That's a thick mash, but for the Bangladeshi Indian Haleem, it's quite different. So to end everything, we will just add, if you can guess, more ghee. All right, so there you go. Another big heaping spoonful of ghee. Oh, it's beautiful. And with the ghee, we will add some onions over it as a garnish. And we turn off the heat. Give it a nice mix. Slowly, slowly incorporate the ghee with it. There you go. Slowly, slowly melt the ghee into it. And this is just amazing. This is just absolutely amazing. Smells amazing. It tastes amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. There you go. A little bit of ghee left. Wow, 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 wow. And that's that. So the only thing left is to plate, and after we plate,